find your passion, it ignites you as a person. You just feel awesome. Hello, what is going on? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna have a little chat, all right? So I was watching a video the other day by the Daisy Fresh dude, Andrew. And in the video, at about, I think it was 25 minutes in, towards basically way at the end of his video, he said that it would take a female 7 years of training to beat a white belt male in a street fight. To which my response is, interesting. I'm sure he spent a lot of time researching that number and thinking about it and gathering data and came up with that after much thought. No, I think he just pulled it out of his ass. So I am here to give you some factual information and offer a counter argument for 2 points that are a little off the mark. So let me just get into it. All right. Would it take me 7 years to defeat a male in a street fight? Okay, I am currently on year 5. Let me offer some empirical data from my past in order to give you an extreme range, so maybe we could take a new average of this number. I started training at the Academy in Portland, Maine. Andrew, if you're watching, if you would like to go up there and enroll, I'm sure you would enjoy it. It is a no bullshit gym. I'm sure Jay would love to have you, okay? So it was about 2 years in. I was rolling with a white belt. I was a white belt at the time. This man was obviously bigger than me because being on the mat as a female, everybody's bigger than you. And we were rolling. I got mount position. I completed a collar choke from mount and put him to sleep, okay? I heard snoring, put him to sleep. All right, so here's another. I trained this morning and I was like, all right, like, I hear this number, let me just run some test simulations just to see, you know, what 5 years can do. So this morning I was like, let me pick, you know, the most spazzy white belt. Obviously he's bigger than me, very tall, very wiry, and I'm like, let's roll. And granted, you know, I'm coming back from a neck injury, so I'm not trying very hard, okay? Like, I am just like, I don't need to prove myself to anybody, but running the test and getting data is always very interesting. So I asked him to start from standing. He tries to go for a single. I cross face, drive forward. He ends up on his butt. I then go for the cut across pass. And here's the thing about white belts. Of course, you know, you're going up against a man and he's stronger than you, okay? But imagine this is a rock, okay? And imagine your goal is to push it this way. If all of your force, which is so much stronger than me, is pushing this way, how much further are you going to go that way? The thing about white belt, the strength of a man as a white belt, he is putting all of that strength towards something that is typically either, if they're a beginner, they don't even know any skill, or if they do, they're going to put all their strength toward what is right in front of them, what they perceive as a threat. So as I was doing the cut across pass, of course he perceives the threat as my knee. So he starts pushing on my knee with all of his force. And what do? It's jiu-jitsu. I'm gonna do something else. So instead, I step backwards, scoop the far side leg, start attacking the near side leg, then switch to the far side leg, and he just, you know, does what white belts do, starts freaking out. But I don't hold it very tightly because, you know, it's an ankle lock to a heel hook. I don't want to injure my partner, all right? Like, even while rolling. So yeah, I basically got a submission there. We do another round. I basically maintain mount for like, cause you know, I just get on mount and just maintain it because I'm trying to like tire them out. They're spazzing out. Just let them tucker out and then go for like the Ezekiel or whatever, you know, like, so Like, this is my experience just this morning with a white belt male who has been training for a little bit. This isn't a day one. I mean, he's been there for at least a year, definitely at least a year. I went with a white belt today. We started doing drills. Basically, we had each other's backs, and like, you hit go, and the one person's supposed to escape, and the other person's supposed to try to submit them. This gentleman was literally maybe 3 or 4 sizes like bigger than me. Like, I could barely get my legs around him. But the thing is, he said he, you know, did jiu-jitsu for 6 months, but he didn't know any back escapes. When you don't have skill, you literally don't know what to do. So even if you have all the strength in the world, it doesn't matter if it's not applied in the right direction. Your vector is all wrong. So those are just a couple of examples of just what happened today. I am a 5-year white belt female, and I mean, a white belt male is very general. Of course, there are all different sizes and whatever, but I believe I could hold my own in a street fight against one. And if you would like to see data of that, I train in Beverly, Mass now, right across from McCavitt Center. So, I mean, Andrew, if you would like to send one of your white belts from your school over to my school, we can just we can add some more data to the mix. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now let me move on to the next point. Point number two, this is super important, all right, especially for females. So we are comparing 2 things in his scenario. One is a street fight and the other is rape, okay? These are 2 different levels of aggression. When you look at the vast majority of rapes, 80% of rapes are committed by somebody who the female knows, okay? And then that's only reported rapes. That number is probably close to 95%, because what happens is at the beginning of a rape, there's basically a miscommunication. This can happen between boyfriend and girlfriend. There was one story of a female, she was on again, off again with her significant other. You know, they went to his house, she felt a little uncomfortable, and he basically like went on top of her, started, you know, trying to have sex, and she was just so stunned that she didn't start fighting until the penetration started hurting. But that's like one of the examples of, like, you have rapist up here, and you have basically like miscommunication where some shit just went wrong and stuff happened, and that doesn't get reported because who wants to call somebody a rapist, and who really like wants to be defined as the rapee? You know what I mean? Like, let's just classify it as a miscommunication and move on, right? So when you're looking at this scale, okay, there are levels of violence that preceded the rape, and the level of violence in which you would deem a street fight are 2 people basically wanting to beat the shit out of each other. Okay, if you look at the statistical probability of a dude trying to beat the shit out of me before raping me, we're talking like 5% of the sick fucks who could actually maintain an erection during the fight of us going to the fucking death. Like, you are going to have to knock me out. I am going to have to be unconscious for you to stick your dick in me. Like, that's a very small percentage. Or they have a weapon or a gun, like, in which case I'm just gonna take one for the team. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not getting shot in the head. That's to the death. Okay, so it's a very, very small percentage. Okay, and what you were talking about with like equating a street fight to rape, that is the Hollywood fake version of what happens. That is a very, very small percentage of the actual rapes that do happen. What happens is you get levels of being tested in which something like pulling out a knife or a gun just seems so far-fetched, because it is a game of degrees. It is boiling a frog incrementally. It is not dumping him in steaming hot water, because obviously they're gonna pull a gun or a knife. It is, you're on a date with somebody, he seems like a really great guy, you go back to his place, he offers you a drink, you say no, he offers you another drink, you say no, he then tells you that he's gonna force feed you drinks, and you are so shocked at this talk of violence that that's the incremental. Like, you are not going to pull a gun on this person. You are not going to pull a knife out. Like, that level is like as if you were being put in boiling hot water. That would be the response, is the gun or the knife. But the issue with rape is that it is incremental. Okay, if you want to save the vast majority of women from rape, you are talking the 85% of the women who aren't experiencing extreme violence before the rape happens. So you don't need a street fight level of BJJ in order to avoid being raped. You just need what I like to call a boner killer level of BJJ skill. And let me give you some examples of that from my experience. All right, so I was in a hotel room with a gentleman, and he had MMA experience. Like, I had some BJJ. It was definitely, I don't know, maybe like around the 2-year mark, like definitely not close to 7 years, okay? And he wanted to have sex. I did not want to have sex, so all I had to do, I just held the mount position. And he was actually kind of embarrassed because he couldn't get me off of him. Now, when you have a dude that isn't a sick fuck trying to beat the shit out of me before raping me or pointing a gun to my head or a knife, you're talking about like the other vast majority of dudes that aren't going to hold an erection when they feel demasculated. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you feel dominated by a woman, unless you're into that, your erection, you don't want to fuck after that. And if you do have a hard-on because you like being dominated, like, then we don't have to worry about rape, do we? Okay? So that's my second issue with his rant. Like, he did not spend time like studying rape or really thinking about how much skill it would take for a female to take on a white belt male. So that, if you have a platform where you are very influential, I don't want a woman to hear that and be like, what? Like, I have to take BJJ for how long? Like, that's so discouraging. Like, and we don't want that. We want women to have a boner killer level of BJJ skill. Okay? Like, that's what we want, because if we're talking self-defense for a female, we're talking self-defense against sexual assault, which is not a stranger coming out on the street, you know, and where you're gonna pull a gun. No, it is an acquaintance. It is somebody you know. It is a social situation where like eye gouging and all that other bullshit is just gonna be awkward. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll give you, if you want another example of this, go watch my dating stories video where I basically, you know, like, sometimes jujitsu, if you're a female and you can physically dominate a male, like, that is a boner killer, okay? And when you think about just think about the situations in which like the majority of rapes happen and it's not out on the street, okay? It is with somebody that you know. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video to offer some counter arguments against some of the numbers that were expressed in Andrew's video, just to let you know, as a female training jiu-jitsu, it would not take me 7 years to take on a white belt. I'm sorry, that's just not, that's fucking offensive. Okay, fuck off. All right, that's so thank you so much for watching. Please please subscribe if you haven't already. You know, this is lovely. And ladies, you know, my jiu-jitsu sisters, like, I am so proud of you. Get on the mats, keep on rolling. You know, you got this. You just need a boner killer level of BJJ, and we're just gonna get there. We're just killing boners. Just killing boners all day. That's what I like to do. All right, see you.